Hey everybody, check it out. What's up? It's Heracles Porsche's professional intro. Yay!
Remember, we don't. So these are the options it's giving us. We don't have to take any of these options. We can. Um, these are suggestions that the AI is giving us, and we can take one of these suggestions, or we can come up with something completely original. Um, so you let me know if you like one of these four options, or if you'd like to do something different. We're in the prompt now. Okay, you want to see? All right, so basically how you want this to do is you've created the story prompt and you're happy to just have me play it out. I'm fine with this. But if at any time you want to jump in with some ideas for the character, just as long as you're quick and like I should be paying enough attention to chat. If you want to take the reins of the character at any time or have some feedback or ideas or suggestions, just hop in and I will, you know, make the necessary adjustments. All right, so for the sake of, in case I re-edit the video, we'll just do kind of like a restart here. Hey everybody, this is Heracles Porsche with my good friend Tibetan Monk. We are collaborating to set up a story in the Dreamio AI program. We've come up with the basis of a story, which you can see here at the top. And we're now looking at getting started with our story here in Dreamio with our original design template. So we are basically, once the narrator has come up with our prompt asking us what to do next, we can literally imagine pretty much anything, and then if our imagination's a bit lacking, we can ask the narrator to help us out and tell us what some of our options are. So this is what we have to pick from. Go to this is actually not like, this is actually interesting as a starting prompt because, you know, this is kind of a good demonstration of the AI's capability and giving us options. Like, there's a lot of ways we could, as a character, potentially choose to handle this situation. It hasn't started out like too threatening or anything, but there's definitely some intrigue. So, uh, go to. This is probably the most sensible thing. I'm not overreacting, but I'm engaged um, with the activity. So we're gonna do this one. We're gonna go with sane adult choice.
You make your way to the front desk and ask the receptionist about the note and sketch. She looks puzzled and says she has no idea what you're talking about. What will you do next?
Okay, now I'll ask. Now. Let me know. Do you guys like the motion? It's like a little distracting almost. I'm gonna leave it up for now, but like I can't decide if it would look better with the motion disabled. I'm gonna leave it for now, but if it gets annoying, I'll turn the motion off. Anyone?
You approach a group of guests and ask if they saw anyone entering your room. They all shake their heads, saying they didn't notice anything out of the ordinary. What will you do next?
Wow, that looks like a nice place to stay. So what did the original note say? I'm gonna scroll up. The mystery wasn't in the brochure. I don't. Okay. I was gonna write search for clues, but that's... I've already reported the staff, so keeping the staff involved is gonna get a bit boring.
You start to explore the retreat, looking for any signs of who might have left the note. As you wander through the gardens, you notice a small group of people gathered around a tree. They seem to be examining something on the ground. What will you do next?
So, one of the interesting things I've noticed about the AI is that it's really quick to no, I'm not ready to turn this character into a full-blown psycho just yet. If you want to if you want me to make a little post-apocalyptic world, maybe I'll get up to that. But that just seems a little wrong for the setting. I'm not quite ready to go postal yet, unless the story kind of veers that way. One of the things that's really interesting about the AI is it's very quick to populate the world with like characters, but won't flesh them out unless you push it. So none of these characters have a name or a backstory yet. And I could do something like, say, introduce myself, ask their name or something, or ask them to tell me a story or something, and then the character will flesh out. But the AI doesn't usually do it on its own, so that's just something to keep in mind as we're going through this.
You approach the group and ask what they're looking at. One of them points to a small ring on the ground, similar to the one in the sketch on your note. They found it while walking through the gardens. What will you do next?
Alright, I guess the obvious is pick up the ring. And hope I don't go on a journey like Frodo.
You pick up the ring and examine it closely. It's a simple silver band with no markings or engravings. What will you do next?
We have to assume, like, what can we assume about
You
the
glance
third
around the
party
garden,
wants me to get
but don't
involved in
see
some
anyone
game?
paying attention to you. What will you do next?
Alright, I guess that would have been too easy. Oh, actually, I want to reveal the description. The image generation is really quick today. The last time I was doing this, it was like a little slow. Like, what could I do? You know what? I'm gonna check the time, just so I can give my...
You check your watch and realize it's almost time for the afternoon meditation session.
Oh,
What will you do
boring.
next?
God, who the hell wants to meditate? I'm sorry. That's judgy. I don't mean actual meditation. I'm sure that's very good for people. I just mean in the context of moving along a story. Time for the afternoon meditation session. I was tempted to write F meditation, but that's... Alright, no. I'm playing a civilized adult. What are we doing here? I don't really... Here's something the AI is not going to flesh out.
You strike up a conversation with some of the other guests, discussing the retreat and your experiences so far. As you talk, you notice one of them eyeing the ring in your hand. What will you do next?
Okay. Um. All right. This might be a little too direct, but you know what? We're gonna introduce myself and see if they volunteer their name. Let's introduce. I like how the AI automatically cleans up my.
You introduce
grammar.
yourself to the person and ask if they're interested in the ring. They seem hesitant at first, but eventually admit that they've been searching for it for a long time. They explain that it's a family heirloom and offer to buy it from you. What will you do next?
Explain about the note in my room. Ask if they.
The person seems surprised to hear about the note and says they don't know anything about it. They reiterate their offer to buy the ring from you, but also mention that they're willing to trade something of equal value if you're interested. What will you do next? The person hesitates for a moment before offering $10,000 for the ring.
Woo!
What will you do next?
10 grand. All right, let's see if I'm getting a good offer or getting ripped off.
You decide to have the ring appraised before making any decisions. You find a local jeweler and they examine the ring, telling you that it's worth at least $50,000.
Oh,
what will you do
that
next?
son of a bitch. That's why you never take the first offer. Oh, they never gave me their name.
You return to the person and inform them of the ring's true value. They seem surprised, but ultimately agree to pay you $50,000 for it. As they hand over the money, they ask if you have any information about the note or who might have left it in your room. What will you do next?
How are we gonna... Tibetan, we've got 50,000 imaginary dollars to spend. I hope you've got some ideas. I don't know, do I have a sensible character who invests, or do I waste it all on hookers and blow? You get to decide if you have any input on that. Or I don't about. So we're not the characters are not fleshed out. The buyer's not getting fleshed out. They never gave me their name, but that's fine. I'm gonna have this character with a fresh infusion of $50,000. Granted, this game actually never really bothers you about your money. For all I know, I could, you can role play a billionaire. There's nothing that's gonna stop you. I could say, I could go on a. I bet you anything that if I asked to rent a private jet right now, the game would just assume I'm my character's rich, right? Um, I was gonna say something else though.
The person nods and takes the ring from you, thanking you for your help. They walk away, leaving you alone in the gardens. What will you do next?
Um,
You head to the front desk and ask about the scheduled activities for the day. The receptionist hands you a brochure with a list of events, including yoga classes, nature walks, and a group meditation session. What will you do next?
that all sounds boring. I'm going into town. I'm going into town. I want to get a beer.
You leave the retreat and head into town. As you walk down the main street, you notice a small antique shop with a sign advertising unique finds. What will you do next?
Yeah, I don't want to go antique shopping. I can't. I'm entering the store because I literally have no ideas. Let's see where the game's trying to take me.
You push open the door and step inside the antique shop. The air is thick with the scent of old books and musty fabrics. Shelves and display cases line the walls, filled with an eclectic mix of items, from vintage cameras to antique furniture. A small bell above the door jingles as you enter. What will you do next? You begin to browse the shelves and display cases, taking in the various items on offer. You notice a particularly ornate jewelry box sitting on a shelf, its intricate carvings catching your eye. What will you do next?
Okay.
You carefully lift the lid of the jewelry box, revealing a collection of sparkling gems and precious metals inside. As you examine the contents, you notice a small slip of paper tucked into one corner. What will you do next? You carefully extract the slip of paper from the corner of the jewelry box and unfold it. It reads, "The key to unlocking the mystery lies in the past. Look for clues where time stands still." What will you do next? You approach the shopkeeper and ask about the jewelry box. They tell you that it's a rare antique from the 1800s and was recently acquired from an estate sale. They don't have any additional information about it, but they do mention that there is a local historical society that might be able to provide more context about items from that time period. What will you do next?
All right, we'll go with your idea.
You leave the antique shop and head to a nearby clock tower, hoping to find some clues about the note's message. As you examine the center of the clock face, you notice that one of the numbers is slightly off-center. You press it and a hidden compartment opens up, revealing an old journal inside. What will you do next? You open the journal and begin to read through its pages. It's written by a woman who lived in the town during the late 1800s, and it details her experiences with a group of people who were obsessed with uncovering hidden treasures and solving mysteries. As you read further, you realize that the woman was part of a secret society that operated in the town, and they left clues for each other to follow in order to uncover valuable artifacts. What will you do next?
Let's look for treasure.
You decide to follow the clues left by the secret society and go treasure hunting. The journal mentions a hidden compartment in the clock tower, which you already found, but it also hints at other locations around town where clues might be hidden. You head out into the streets, determined to uncover more secrets. Where do you want to go first?
I'm not very creative, so we're gonna click what are my choices. Oh yeah, they're already pushing me this way.
You make your way to the Historical Society and ask the receptionist if they have any information on a secret society that operated in the town during the late 1800s. She directs you to a section of the library where old newspapers and documents are kept. You spend several hours poring over old articles and letters, but you don't find anything that directly relates to the secret society. However, you do come across an article about a wealthy family who lived in town during that time period and were known for their love of puzzles and riddles. The article mentions that they had a large collection of rare artifacts, some of which were rumored to be cursed. What will you do next?
Cursed artifacts is starting to get real.
You head to the address listed in the article and find yourself standing in front of a grand mansion. You ring the doorbell and are greeted by a butler who leads you to a room filled with rare artifacts, including ancient statues, jewelry, and paintings. As you look around, you notice that some of the items have strange symbols etched into them. Suddenly, you hear a noise behind you and turn around to see the butler holding a gun. He demands that you leave immediately and threatens to call the police if you don't comply. What will you do next?
I guess I'll leave. I don't know. This game is weird. It could kill me right now.
You quickly leave the mansion and head back to your hotel room. As you sit down to think about your next move, you realize that you still have the slip of paper with clues related to the secret society. What will you do next?
Alright, feel free to chime in here, Tibetan, because definitely we're at a point where we can veer off in a lot of directions. I mean, I guess that's technically true at any point, but now we've got a bit of a danger flag. So don't think for 1 second that this game won't kill us. I promise you it will. But leaving town could also be a bit boring. So we've kind of got to balance. I mean, getting a game over screen is not a big deal. We just go, oh no, I go back a decision and it's fine. But I don't know. This game could kill us, but this could also, we also want to try and create an interesting ending. So, um, I want. Let's stay away from. I'm leaning towards staying away from the family. I should contacts in the antique world.
You carefully examine the slip of paper and notice that there are 2 locations mentioned. One is a park on the outskirts of town, and the other is an abandoned warehouse near the docks. Which location will you investigate first?
I'm gonna go to the park because that seems less likely to get me killed.
You head to the park and spend hours searching for any clues related to the secret society, but come up empty-handed. As you leave the park, you notice a group of people huddled together near a bench, whispering and looking around suspiciously. What will you do next?
Alright, so nighttime is when you can get fucked over. Right now, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody comes and grabs my shoulder. Or grabs me by the arm or something.
You make your way back to the retreat, but as you approach, you notice that something seems off. The front door is slightly ajar, and there are signs of a struggle inside. What will you do next?
We'll call the police. I could still get killed. You can still get killed after calling the police. I don't think I'm safe just because I do that.
You quickly dial 911 and report the possible break-in at your retreat. The operator tells you to stay on the line while they dispatch officers to your location. As you wait, you hear a faint noise coming from inside the retreat. What will you do next? You stay on the line with the operator, trying to keep quiet as you hear more noises coming from inside. Suddenly, the line goes dead. What will you do next?
The line? What the fuck? What time period is this? Do I not own a cell phone? Get the fuck out. I want to write. I never established
You
what
quickly
time
make
period
your
this
way out
was.
of the retreat, trying to avoid making any noise. As you step outside, you see a figure lurking in the shadows. Suddenly,
Oh,
they
I'm
lunge at
fucking
you with a
dead.
knife. What will you do next?
I'm dead. The fucking... It's after dark. All the fucking horror tropes are coming out. 100% I can't... I already know how this fucking AI works. I'm dead. If I run, I'm dead. Alright, Tibetan, you should really chime in here, because, like... I know if I run wildly down the street, I'll almost certainly be killed. If I try fighting, you really have to get creative here if you want to survive these situations. A lot of times when I've survived stuff like this that the AI is thrown at me, it's because I ran somewhere very unique that could help me get away. Right, like diving in the sewers or running up a fire escape. I don't even know if those things exist. I might really be fucked because I don't even know if those things exist here. If I run blindly, I know the horde trope's gonna kill me for sure. So anyway, Tibetan, I'm assuming you're there, and alright, we'll do what are my choices. If I run, okay. This'll get me killed for sure. This probably won't work. By the way, I could just I could try to materialize something right here. We really don't... My character hasn't been fleshed out. So if I say that I have a gun... Flip! Oh my god. Oh my god. All right. I don't think it's. I don't. Well, we haven't. The rule set is still pretty open. We haven't done anything about the supernatural. So okay. All right. It's possible this could work, actually. We'll see what the AI does with that.
You don't have a flamethrower, but you do have a pocket knife. You quickly pull it out and try to defend yourself as the figure lunges at you with their knife. Unfortunately, they overpower you and deliver a fatal blow. Game over.
I knew it. I fucking knew it. This is how the, This is how this AI is. This will probably get me killed too. They decided not to give me a fucking cell phone.
You turn and run as fast as you can, trying to put as much distance between you and the figure as possible. You hear their footsteps behind you, getting closer with each passing moment. Suddenly, you trip over a root and fall to the ground.
Yep.
The figure looms over you, knife in hand.
That got me killed too. I told you. Fuck.
You swing the phone at the figure, hitting them in the head and causing them to stumble back. They quickly recover and come at you again with the knife. What will you do next?
Do you think it'll work if I just keep using the phone? I don't, This is probably another game over, but we'll see.
You swing the phone again, hitting the figure in the head with all your might. They stumble back and fall to the ground, dropping the knife. You quickly grab it and run away from the retreat, not looking back until you're far enough
that
away.
Worked.
As you catch your breath, you realize that you have no idea who that person was or why they were after you. What will you do next?
So suddenly this retreat has gone from... Have you noticed how much the pictures have changed? The retreat has gone from this, like, idyllic, you know, retreat that looks like it could be in the middle of a town with gardens to, you know, a horror setting. As long as it's nighttime, the game is going to keep throwing horror tropes at us. So I'm kind of, like, headed to just try... Like, Spooky Dark Forest is... The AI will murder you. Will keep trying to murder you 100%. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna ignore, not take any of those. Lighting's important. Alright, Tibetan, you really like flamethrowers.
You make your way towards the nearest town, sticking to well-lit streets and avoiding any dark alleys or secluded areas. As you walk, you try to piece together what could have led to this attack. Was it related to the secret society and treasure hunting? Or was it something else entirely? You arrive at a small diner and decide to grab a bite to eat while you think things over.
Oh, well, that's kind
What
of
will you do next?
exciting. Head to police station, obviously.
You finish your meal and make your way to the police station, hoping to get some answers about the attack on your retreat. As you enter the building, you explain what happened to the officer at the front desk. They take down your information and assure you that they will investigate the incident. However, they also warn you to be careful and suggest that you stay somewhere safe until they can figure out who was after you. What will you do next?
I mean, I could book the next plane out of here.
The officer suggests that you stay at a nearby hotel, which is known for its security measures. They offer to call ahead and make arrangements for you, but warn you to be cautious and not let your guard down. What will you do next?
Sure, that sounds good. I'm like, I feel like there's like a low chance they could still try to get me before I get to the hotel.
The officer makes a call and arranges
Or
for you to stay at the hotel. They give
No, I
you
think it's
directions
good.
and wish you luck, urging you to contact them if anything else happens. You make your way to the hotel and check in, feeling relieved to have a safe place to stay for the night. As you settle into your room, you can't help but wonder what other dangers may be lurking out there. What will you do next?
I mean, I made 50 grand. How much more crazy shit do I want to get into? So, you know what? I'm curious what the AI has done with the date, because they did the phone line went dead, which is like an old school horror trope. So, I want to know what year this is. I want to see what, just to...
It's the present day.
What? You can't say it's the Oh. Okay. So it's 2024. It's 2024, and the AI threw in a the line went dead horror trope. Okay, that makes sense. Country. Now what country am I in?
You are in the United States. Specifically, you are in a city on the East Coast. What will you do next?
All right. Oh, I thought this was America. Where's home?
You don't remember where your home is. All you have is the sketch of the ring and the clues about the secret society.
How do I not
What will you
remember
do
where my
next?
home is? What the fuck? I guess that decide. Alright, I'm gonna go live in California. We're on the East Coast, let's go to the West Coast. Let's put some distance between me and the crazy people.
You can't just decide to live in California without any plan or means of getting there. Plus, you still have the mystery of the secret society and your attackers to solve. What will you do next?
Oh, okay. Alright. I guess $50,000 doesn't count as means. I have 50. It won't let me leave. Damn. Uh. Okay, so I'm going to
You spend some time researching self-defense techniques and strategies online. You find some helpful tips and videos, but realize that it's not enough to just watch and read about it. You need to practice and train in person. What will you do next? You decide to look for a self-defense class or instructor in the area. After some searching, you find a local gym that offers classes in various martial arts and self-defense techniques. You sign up for a beginner's class and attend your first session, learning basic moves and practicing with other students. It's challenging but empowering, and you feel more confident in your ability to defend yourself if needed. What will you do next?
Anyway, Tibetan, don't be shy about chiming in here at any time.
You decide to take your self-defense preparations a step further and look into purchasing weapons. You research online and find a local gun store that offers a variety of firearms for sale. After obtaining the necessary permits and completing the required background checks, you purchase a handgun and some ammunition. You feel more secure knowing you have a means of protection, but also recognize the responsibility that comes with owning a firearm. What will you do next?
If there's more weapons you want this guy to have, just chime in. It's gonna be pretty weird to walk around town with a flamethrower, but
You spend some time reflecting on your past and trying to piece together any memories or clues that may help you understand why you were targeted. You go through old photos, journals, and personal belongings, but nothing seems to trigger any significant memories. However, as you continue your search, you come across a small notebook with a strange symbol on the cover that looks familiar. You can't quite place where you've seen it before, but it feels important somehow. What will you do next?
what is your obsession with flamethrowers?
You do some
Tibetan?
research on the symbol and discover that it is associated with a secret society known for their
This
wealth,
doesn't fit the
power,
story at all.
and influence.
You're like,
They are rumored to
I'm
be involved
I'm
in
a treasure
various
hunter,
illegal
and
activities,
I solve
including
mysteries by using a
smuggling,
flamethrower
money
on
laundering,
every-
and political corruption. You also find out that they have a strict
I
code
think
of
that
secrecy and loyalty, and anyone
You-
who
you
betrays them
seriously
or
need to-
threatens
you
their
see-
interests
the next
is
story
dealt
we
with
do
harshly.
seriously needs to be like
What
a
will you do next?
post-apocalyptic or zombie story or something where you something where you can just use violence at random and it's not completely immersion breaking. The setup for the next story is you are a crazy flamethrower wielding nut job in a world filled with nut jobs. What do you do next? That's gonna be the next story we set up for you, buddy. It needs to the story elements need to fit together. We can't be on an elegant Agatha Christie treasure hunt and fucking use a flamethrower. It doesn't work at all. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. They are rumored to be. This is already becoming a lot like the first Cyberpunk story I did. I'm definitely seeing the AI doing a lot of the same things. Rumored to be involved. Oh man, this is so annoying because this is so much like the story, the Cyberpunk story. It's ridiculous. All right.
You make a mental note to be cautious and not get too involved with the secret society, but you also realize that they may hold valuable information about your past.
Oh, it's a
You
cute-
decide to keep researching and gathering any clues or leads that may help you uncover the truth. As you continue your search, you come across a name that keeps popping up in connection with the society, Mr. X. It seems like he may be a
Oh
key
wow, how
figure
creative,
in their
Mr.
operations.
X.
What will you do next?
Oh god.
You decide to seek out someone who may have experience dealing with secret societies and their operations. You remember hearing about a retired detective who specialized in investigating such organizations. After some research, you find his contact information and arrange to meet him in a secluded alleyway downtown. As you arrive at the meeting spot, you notice that it's dimly lit and there are no other people around. Suddenly, you hear footsteps approaching from behind. What will you do next?
I'm probably gonna, if they don't.
You draw your handgun and turn around to face the approaching footsteps. As you do, you see a figure emerge from the shadows. It's the retired detective you arranged to meet with. He looks at your gun and nods in approval before introducing himself. You both exchange information about the secret society and Mr. X, and he shares some valuable insights based on his past experiences investigating similar organizations. After the meeting, you feel more informed and prepared to continue your search for answers. What will you do next?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Tibetan. It's not that I'm not feeling this. It's just that I don't want this to go forever. You know what I mean? Like, it's repeating a lot of the same tropes that I dealt with when I did my cyberpunk story. So I do want some way to wrap this up in like a reasonable amount of time. They've decided I can't remember my past again.
You continue your investigation, keeping a watchful eye on your surroundings and taking extra precautions to ensure your safety. You come across more clues that lead you to believe Mr. X is involved in illegal activities, but you're not sure what they are. What will you do next?
This is dumb. If this gets me killed, I'm just gonna be like, okay.
You manage to track down Mr. X's location and confront him directly. He denies any involvement in illegal activities and claims that the secret society is simply a group of like-minded individuals who gather to discuss philosophical ideas. However, you notice that he seems nervous and evasive during the conversation. Suddenly, he pulls out a gun and points it at you. What will you do next?
Okay, if I try to have a standoff with him, he's already pulled out the gun. So I'm thinking I need cover, which is, it didn't give me, that's not my default options, but I might. Um,
You quickly dive behind cover as Mr. X fires his gun. You return fire, hitting him in the shoulder and causing him to drop his weapon. He falls to the ground, groaning in pain. What will you do next?
Maybe I'll be a criminal now. That's fine. This will make things different than before, I guess.
You cautiously approach Mr. X, keeping your gun trained on him as you kick his weapon away. He winces in pain but doesn't resist. Who are you working for? You demand, your voice firm. Mr. X looks up at you with a mixture of defiance and resignation. I can't tell you that, he says through gritted teeth. What is the secret society planning? You press, feeling a surge of adrenaline. I don't know, he replies, shaking his head weakly. I'm just a pawn. You consider your options for a moment before deciding to search the room for any clues or information that might be useful. What will you do next?
Will the game let me torture him for information? I know it's actually not a good way to get information from somebody.
You quickly search the room for any useful information, but find nothing of note. You then proceed to tie up Mr. X with some rope you found in a nearby drawer and begin interrogating him further. What else do you know about the society? You ask, your voice low and intense. Mr. X winces in pain as he struggles against his restraints. I've told you everything I know, he insists. You're not convinced, but before you can press him further, you hear footsteps approaching from outside the door. What will you do next? You quickly grab Mr. X and position him in front of you as a shield, just as the door bursts open and two armed men enter the room. They hesitate for a moment at the sight of you holding Mr. X hostage, but then one of them raises his gun and fires. The bullet hits Mr. X in the chest, causing him to scream out in pain and collapse to the ground. The other man rushes forward, trying to disarm you, but you manage to dodge his attack and knock him unconscious with a nearby lamp. As you catch your breath, you realize that Mr. X is bleeding heavily from his wound and may not survive much longer. What will you do next?
This is kind of a cool, this image is pretty cool. I have to give them credit. This is definitely one of the better images that the game has come up with. So apparently this is what I look like. This is what I've looked like the whole time. Who do I look like? I feel like this reminds me of a celebrity. Like, I don't know. I have to deal with the remaining attacker, right? I can't.
You quickly aim your gun at the remaining attacker and fire, hitting him in the shoulder. He falls to the ground, groaning in pain. You rush over to Mr. X, who is now barely conscious. What do I do? You ask yourself frantically. Suddenly, you remember reading about basic first aid techniques in one of the books you found during your investigation. You quickly tear off a piece of cloth from your shirt and use it to apply pressure to Mr. X's wound, trying to stop the bleeding. After a few tense moments, Mr. X's breathing becomes more steady and his eyes flutter open weakly. "Thank you," he whispers before passing out again. You realize that you need to get him medical attention as soon as possible if he has any chance of surviving. What will you do next? You carefully lift Mr. X and carry him out of the room, making sure to avoid any potential danger. As you exit the building, you see that it's still dark outside and there are no cars in sight. You realize that you'll have to find a way to get Mr. X to a hospital yourself. You start walking down the street, trying to think of a plan. After a few minutes, you come across a payphone and quickly dial 911. The operator answers, and you explain the situation, requesting an ambulance. While waiting for the ambulance to arrive, you continue applying pressure to Mr. X's wound and try to keep him conscious by talking to him. Finally, after what seems like an eternity, you hear the sound of sirens approaching. The ambulance pulls up beside you, and paramedics rush out with a stretcher. They take over from there, loading Mr. X onto the stretcher and rushing him into the ambulance. After Mr. X is taken away in the ambulance, you decide to head back to the scene of the attack. As you approach the building, you notice that there are police cars parked outside. You cautiously make your way inside and see that the area has been cordoned off with yellow tape. You show your ID to one of the officers and explain that you were attacked here earlier. The officer takes down your information and tells you that they're still investigating the incident. He advises you not to interfere with their investigation and to leave any further leads or clues to them. Feeling frustrated but understanding, you leave the scene and head back to your retreat. As you walk, you can't help but wonder who these attackers were and what they wanted from Mr. X and his involvement with the secret society. You decide to reach out to any contacts or allies you may have in the area. After making a few calls, you manage to get in touch with a former colleague who works for a private investigation firm. They tell you that they've heard rumors about a group of mercenaries who have been hired by the secret society to protect their interests and eliminate anyone who poses a threat to them. Your colleague advises you to be careful and suggests that you lay low for a while until things cool down. They also offer their services if you need any further assistance. Feeling grateful for the information and support, you thank your colleague and hang up. You realize that this situation is more dangerous than you initially thought and that you need to be extra cautious moving forward.
Alright, now I'm going to try go living in Cali. I have a reason to leave, right? Let's see if I have my out. Come on! I've been in a life or death situation or two. Give me my out, please.
You decide to leave the area and head to California. You pack your bags and make travel arrangements, taking care to cover your tracks
am I in a
and
dark-
avoid leaving
another
any
dark
clues
alley?
behind. After a long journey, you arrive in California and settle into a small apartment in a quiet neighborhood. You spend your days exploring the city, trying new foods, and meeting new people. However, you can't shake the feeling that someone is watching you. You start to notice strange cars parked outside your building and unfamiliar faces following you on the street. One day, while out for a walk, you are ambushed by two men who grab you from behind and drag you into an alleyway. They demand to know what you know about the secret society and threaten to kill you if you don't cooperate. You try to fight back, but they overpower you easily. As they prepare to deliver the final blow, everything goes black. Game over.
Fuck you. So I wasn't killed by the secret society. I was killed by, yeah, I tell you, this game is not shy. That's why it's really, when you come up with the rule set, this game is not shy about about killing you. So if you don't write something in this rule set, like the player does not die easily, you will die easily. That's, yeah, I know, this is how this game is. This is not, I wasn't even killed by the secret society, just somebody, okay, so you pack your bags. Can we add to the rule set? Yeah, we can change the rule set right now. Let's try it again with the rule set changed. Okay, well right now I am trying to wrap this up, so I've just kind of Oh shit.
You decide to
look
leave
baller,
the area
dude.
and head to California. You pack your bags and make travel arrangements, taking care to cover your tracks and avoid any potential danger. After a few days of traveling, you arrive in California and settle into a new routine. You find a small apartment to rent and start looking for work. As time passes, you begin to feel more at ease and less paranoid. However, you can't shake the feeling that someone is still watching you, waiting for the right moment to strike. One day, while walking home from work, you notice a car following you. You try to lose them by taking different routes and doubling back, but they continue to tail you. Eventually, they catch up with you and two men get out of the car. They demand that you come with them, saying that their employer wants to speak with you.
I know what happens if you get in the car.
You have a split-second decision to make. Do you go with them or try to fight them off?
They haven't mentioned guns at all, so Tibetan, stop with the flamethrower. This is it. We're not in a post-apocalyptic. We're not in Vietnam or a post-apocalyptic wasteland. This doesn't make sense. You know what? But the situation is another thing about the situation is pretty crazy. All right, hold on. Let's see. Let's get. We'll pull out my gun. At this point, it makes sense for my character to be armed.
You reach for your gun, but realize that you left it back at your apartment.
What?
You're unarmed and vulnerable.
Bullshit.
The men grab you and force you into the car,
PG.
driving off to an unknown location.
Oh,
You try to
come on.
resist, but they overpower you. After what feels like hours of driving, the car finally comes to a stop in front of a large mansion. The men drag you inside and down a long hallway before throwing you into a dimly lit room.
I should
As your eyes adjust to the darkness, you see a
I should have
figure
been
sitting in a
saving more
chair
often.
across from you. It's impossible to make out their face, but their voice is cold and menacing as they speak. "I've been watching you," they say. "I know about your investigation into our organization, and I'm afraid I can't let that continue." They stand up and walk towards you, reaching for something in their pocket. You have one last chance to act. Do you try to fight them off or plead for mercy?
So I have put in the player does not die easily, and it's still leading me towards my death. Like, I don't know anything. I don't want to go out like a bitch. I don't want to go out like a bitch. Spin a new line of story. Spin a new line. Does this work? Spin a new line of story. The ring, I don't even know if the ring matters at this point. Okay. How about this? All right.
The figure chuckles. "Oh, it's not just about the ring. It's about protecting our secrets and our power. You stumbled upon something you shouldn't have, and now you must pay the price." They pull out a knife and advance towards you. What do you do?
No, he already said it's not about the ring. Oh, it's not just about the ring. I guess he might still care. Not just, yeah, you're right. You're right. You kill me and you'll never find the ring. You kill me, you'll never find.
The figure hesitates for a moment, considering your words. "Perhaps you're right," they say slowly, "but we can't take any chances." They lunge towards you with the knife, but you manage to dodge out of the way and grab a nearby chair to defend yourself. The fight is intense, but you manage to hold your own against the figure. Eventually, they make a mistake and leave themselves open for a split second. You take advantage of the opportunity and knock them unconscious with the chair. You quickly search their pockets and find a key that unlocks your restraints. As you make your escape from the mansion, you realize that this isn't over yet. The secret society will stop at nothing to protect their secrets, and you'll need to be even more careful moving forward. What do you do next?
What about interrogating this guy? Oh, okay, I'm gonna do... You know what? I like that idea. Alright, so I might simplify that and just do fake your own death. Are you okay with that, Tibetan? Find a skeleton. I'm just gonna do a generic fake your own death. I just kind of want to see. But I like that idea of faking your own death, basically. The core idea that you just proposed. So I think I'm gonna do fake your own death and just see what the AI does with that. Wait, okay. Give more detail. Well, I'm gonna save right here. Okay. Alright, we can add that. You're good with that? Fake my own death so I have time to come up with a plan.
You spend the next few days carefully planning your fake death. You create a convincing backstory and even go as far as to stage a car accident, leaving behind a charred body that resembles you.
Oh,
With your new
wow.
identity
That
in
was
place,
pretty
you
close
begin
what
to
you had-
investigate
what you
the
had in
secret
mind.
society from afar. You gather information and make connections, slowly piecing together their operations and hierarchy. One day, while following a lead, you find yourself face to face with one of the society's top members. They recognize you immediately and draw their weapon. What do you do next?
I guess we're getting in another shootout. Alright. I'm gonna give it a second, but if you have... I think I'm going with the classic, but if you have another... If you have another... Any kind of... Actually, I want to keep this guy alive so we have someone to interrogate. Don't care. Alright, I'm gonna do a 3, 2, 1, and if you're good with that, we're just gonna go ahead and... I want this to end. This is getting tiresome.
You quickly dive behind a nearby dumpster as the
Where
top
the hell
member
am I?
opens fire.
There's a
You
nearby
return
dumpster.
fire,
Am I in
aiming for
another alley?
non-vital areas to incapacitate them. The gunfight is intense, but you manage to land a few shots and the top member falls to the ground, unconscious. You quickly search their pockets and find valuable information about the society's operations. As you make your escape from the alleyway, you realize that this won't be the last time you'll have to face off against members of the secret society. But with each victory, you're one step closer to uncovering their secrets and bringing them down for good. Congratulations. You've successfully navigated through dangerous situations and uncovered important information about the secret society. Your journey may not be over yet, but with your determination and resourcefulness, there's no doubt that you'll come out on top in the end.
Okay. You know what? I have taken this far enough that I am going to treat that like the ending. I think that the limitations on the AI mean that if I try to keep playing this story, it's just gonna, like, you notice there's certain, I don't know if there's tropes or whatever you want to call them, but there's a bit of repetition. We're kind of coming up against, I mean, the AI is good. It is coming up with a lot of really interesting things, but I also feel like we're kind of coming up against the limit of what the AI can do in terms of creativity, right? Like we're like, you know what I mean? So, like, we've confronted 3 different characters, and they all 3 events were kind of similar, and you know, doing my own research always leads to confrontations. So it's I think the AI has kind of hit a bit of a limiter here. But this was good. I hoped you enjoyed this, Tibetan. I'm sure, I know your answer of use a flamethrower. I'm sure we can come up with a more flamethrower appropriate story for you. But this was good. I think I'm going to take the AI's offer to end the story here. Now I look like, apparently for some reason, now I look like Christian Bale. Kind of. I don't know. So yeah, maybe at some point this will end up on YouTube. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm more or less happy with how this has turned out. I'm not sure. We've been at this for I want to say what, an hour and a half. But yeah, if you are, I hope you're happy with this and you enjoyed it. And yeah, I think that's where I wrap things up. So if anyone's watching this in a recording, that's where we'll end it. And until next time, everybody, I will see you when I see you.